Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss about a new topic in instrumentation and control system subject. It is Unit 4, stress and strain measurements. So it is my 31st lecture in this subject. Today we will see about what is the introduction of stress strain measurements. In this class, we will see about what is stress and what is strain, what are the different types of stresses, and what are the different types of strains, and what are the different methods for stress and strain. What are the different measuring instruments are used in this measurement of stress and strain. So in this class, these topics we will discuss. In previous class, we will discussed about the measurement of acceleration and measurement of vibration. Those are different types of measuring instruments are used to measure the acceleration and vibration. So today we will see a new topic, stress and strain measurements. First of all, you can see what is stress. Stresses are expressed as the ratio of applied force divided by the resisting area. The if we take stress, there are different types of stresses based upon the area, based upon the load acting on that area, based upon the direction, based upon the material. There are different types of stresses are acting different areas under different directions. It is mainly in any type of stress or any type of direction. What is the formula of stress? It is sigma is equal to force by area. That is the formula of stress. Sigma is equal to force by area. Force by area. Sigma is equal to F by A. That is the formula of stress. Sigma is equal to F by A, force by cross sectional area of that element. That is the formula. And what are the units of this stress? It is calculated as in terms of newtons per meter square or pascals. Newton per meter square. 1 Newton per meter square is equal to 1 Newton per meter square is equal to 1 Pascal. 1 Pascal. Okay, so that is the formula, and those are the unit. 1 kilopascal is equal to 1000 pascal. Because of there is a 1 kilo, 1 pascal is equal to that is 1 pascal, and 1 kilopascal is equal to 1000 pascals. 1 megapascal is equal to 10 power 6 pascals. 10 power 6 pascals. Okay, these are the units of stresses in where we calculate stresses in the measurements of taking this type of units. Newton per meter square or pascals or kilopascals or megapascals. These units are taking the stress should be calculated. Okay, next one. What is the terminology related to this stress? What type of terminologies are related to this stress, and what is mainly stress, and what is stress or stress capacity? What is the stress load? What are those? Stressor is anything that has the effect of causing stress. So effect of causing stress. Uh, for example, I am taking one wooden block. I am taking one wooden block in this flat surface. In this flat surface, I am taking one wooden block. So in this flat surface, I am applying some stress on that body. I am applying some stress on that uh, object, that is a wooden block. It is wooden block. It is wooden block. It has some mass. Okay, so it is the overall area. So this box is what is the cross sectional area? It is I am taking as A. That is the cross sectional area. I am applying some force on this wooden block. It is moving based upon the applying of force. So the block is moving. The block is moving based upon the apply of force. The force applied heavily on this block, the wood moves very fastly. Okay, so based upon the applied force, the cross-sectional area of the wood is changes. So in this wood, in this surface, it is occupying this amount of area. But whenever we apply the force on that wood, automatically it change the area of the cross section. And also next I am taking one elastic rubber. It has a elasticity in nature. So some stresses are applied, different stresses are applied. There is a longitudinal stress, or different types of stresses are occurred. Suppose it is the elastic object. I am applying force like this. I am applying force like this. I'm applying force like this in this direction. So it is the object. It is the object. It has some mass, and different forces are applied, and the same forces are applied on this object. By I'm applying force on this side. I'm applying force on this side. Automatically, the cross-sectional area of the object should be changed. It is finally changed into the shape. It is in this shape. It is get finally. Okay, it is the force. It is the force. So it will change the area. It will change the area, and it will change the um, total cross sectional area of that body. Okay, so that is that effects of the causing stress. Any type of object, the stress is applied on that object, it should be affected. That affected stress is called stressor. Okay, and next stress capacity. How much amount of capacity, what is capacity, what is the stress capacity? While it is unclear precisely how much stress a person can carry, how much stress a person can carry. So a person carries some amount of stress, then what is the maximum amount of stress carries the person? So how much amount of stress carries the person? And since each person has some stress in their lives, we say he or she has a capacity for stress. Similarly, in case of rocks, how much capacity they have to bear stress? In every person, you can take for example, in every person has a stress. There are different levels of stress. One person bear the high amount of stress, one person bears the only less amount of stresses. So different persons are living in this environment, they won't have stresses. But everyone's stress has not at equal stresses. Different levels of stresses bears in the different humans. Okay, same wise, same thing, we are applying stresses. Similarly, in this case, rocks are how much capacity they have to be bear test. For example, I am taking rocks, only some amount of stress it should be bear. Otherwise, the maximum stress should be acted on that rocks, it should be broken. So that is the um, difference between the different stresses are acting in different objects. So every object has a different stress levels. So one object is bear the high amount of stress, in another object bears the small amount of stress. If I am taking one um, glass material, it acts only small amount of stress, it should be broken. And I am taking one rock material, it should be bear some high amount of stress. So every material or every object has a different stress levels. Okay, so that is the stress capacity. And the stress load, everyone, even children also, must carry some amount of stresses in their daily lives. When we think of stress as having an amount or quantity, we refer to this as the person's stress load. And here, in case of rocks, we say that how much an already existing stress is applied on a rock. So what is the stress load? So every person or every object or every component we take, they has a different stress levels. Even children's also, they have some stress levels. So this must carry some amount of stresses. So they must carry some amount of stresses. Only the minimum amount of stresses are they can carry some amount of stresses on their own lives. Or we can take materials, they are carry different amounts of stresses and their own properties. So based upon when we think the stresses has an amount or quantity, we refer to this a person's stress load. When we think a stress having an amount, so we can carry the amount of stresses at different load characteristics of that acting on the stress. And here, in case of rocks, we say that how much an already existing stress applied on a rock in before manufacturing, how much amount of stress acting on that rock. So that is the stress load acting. For example, I am taking two rocks. In first step condition, some amount of stress is acted on that rock, so it should not broken. In other rock, I am increased my stress loads. I'm increased my stress loads and applied that stress loads on the other rock, it will broken. So how much amount of stress load is acted on that rocks? So that is the difference of stresses acting on that rocks. So in first rock, I am applying some amount of stress, it should not broken. In other rock, I am applying same amount of stress, but the stress load is increased. So the stress load is increased when it will the rock will reach the maximum amount of loads, it should be broken. So that is the difference between the stress loads. Okay, so these are the terminologies related to stress. And what are the different types of stresses, and what type of stresses we are applying in daily life, and what are the different stress loads are applied on the different materials or different objects. We can see there are two types of stresses. One is normal stress and another one is combined stress. These are the two different types of stresses in is used in daily life. One is a normal stress, one is normal stress, and another one is combined stress. And normal stress, you see tensile stresses and compressive stresses. These tensile and compressive stresses are the normal stresses. And next one, combined stress, there is a shear stress and a torsional stress. These are the combined stresses. What is tensile stress? What is tensile stress? You can see the normal stresses, the resisting area is perpendicular to the applied force. So whenever we apply the stress on that particular body or particular object or particular component, uh, that stress is perpendicular to that object, perpendicular to that area. So whenever wherever we apply the stress, uh, is it a material or is it a component or is it an object, any type of object you can take. So the stress is perpendicular to that area, the stress is perpendicular to that area, the applied force is perpendicular to that area. So that's why it is called normal stresses. When in this normal stress, we can see tensile stress and compressive stress. In tensile stresses, it is a stress induced in your body when it is subjected to two equal and opposite pulls, as a result of which there is tendency in increase in length. it acts as to the area and pulls on the area. So what he told is tensile strength. What is the diagram of this tensile strength? It is, so I am taking one object. This object, in this direction, I'm applying force. I'm applying force. And also opposite direction, I'm applying force in this direction. So it is the tensile stress. Okay. It is some object that is the mass, some amount of mass. So whenever we apply the stress, whenever we apply the force on the body, two equal and opposite pulls, two equal and opposite pulls, it is the direction. So these are the opposite pulls. Okay, so it is the tensile strength, two equal, these two forces are equal, it pulls an opposite direction to this mass. When uh, automatically the length of the object, the length, it should be changed, it should be changed, the length of the object is to be changed. So it is stress induced in your body is subjected to two equal and opposite poles, as a result which there is a tendency in increase in length. So the length of the object is increased, the length of the object is increased. So it is the length, it should be increased. So we apply the force, we applied the force. So some force applied on that object, the length of the object is increased, the length of the object is increased. Okay, so that is called tensile strength. And you can see what is compressive stress. Stress induced in your body when subjected to two equal and opposite pulses, um, as a result of which there is a tendency of decrease in length of the body. So in tensile stress, the length of the body is increased, and the compressive stress, the length of the body is decreased. You can see the diagram, how it works, the compressive stress. It is the compressive stress. Opposite forces are applied on the body. Pushes. Opposite pushes. Okay. So it is the force. It is the force applied by the body. The force applied body, the opposite pushes are applied on this body. Automatically, the length of the body is decreased. The length of the body is decreased. Why? Why? Because the force is applied in this direction. The force is applied on this opposite direction to that body. Uh, the length of the object should be decreased. You can see how it should finally gets applied on the stresses. This gets on the final applied stresses of that body. Okay, the length of the body should be changed. So that is compressive stress. So it means the object should be compressed, and the tensile strength means the object should be pulls. Okay, the length of the tensile strength is increased, and the compressive stress applied on the object, the length of the object should be decreased. That is the difference between the tensile strength and compressive strength. And next one, combined stresses. A condition of stress that cannot be represented by a single resultant stress. It should not represented only at a single resultant stress is acting on that body. It should act at different types of stresses. Okay, so you can take CS stress, forces parallel to that area resisting the force cause CS stress. The forces are parallel to that area. Suppose it is the area, it is the area, the forces are parallel, the forces are parallel, the forces are parallel to that area. Sorry, the forces are parallel. The forces are parallel to that area. That's cause is called shearing stress. It differs to the tensile and compressive stresses, which are caused by forces perpendicular to the area also, which are represents the perpendicular area also. Shearing stress is also known as tangential stresses. Shearing stress is also known as tangential stresses. So what he told is forces are parallel to the area resisting of the force causing by the shear stress. It differs to tensile and compressive stresses, which are caused by the forces perpendicular to the area on the which they act on that body. Shear stress is also known as longitudinal stress. And next one, what is torsional stress? The stresses and deformations induced in a circular shaft by twisting movement. So when we take circular shaft, when we will take a circular shaft. So this circular shaft will act as a different stresses. It is the circular shaft. This circular shaft, I'm applying stresses. I'm applying stresses. So the stresses applied on that circular shaft, it should be twisting in motion, twisted. The circular shaft should be twisted. So that deformation is called a twisting movement. That deformation is called a torsional movement of the object. Okay, so the stresses and deformation induced in the circular shaft, that is twisting movement. Okay, so those are combined stresses. And next one, what type of stresses are acted? You can see there is a diagram: tensional stresses and compressive stresses under shear stresses. You can see there is a tensional stresses. If I am taking one brick, the loads are acting in this direction. It is a tensile stress. In this tensile stress, there are pulls are occurred. Okay, in the two sides of that object. When pulling is applied on that object, the length of the object should be increased. And in the compressive stress, we applied the pushes on that object, the length of the object should be decreased. In shear stress, the forces are acting perpendicular to the object, perpendicular or parallel to the object. Okay, the forces are parallel to that object. So that is shear stress. And next one, what is strain? Next one, what is strain? When a body is subjected to some external force, there is some change in the dimension of the body. The ratio of change in dimension of body to its original dimension is called strain. When a body is subjected to some external force, so some external forces are acting on that body, there is some change some change in the dimension of the body. So the dimensions of the body is to be changed. There is a constant dimensions. The dimensions of the body is changed whenever we apply the external force on that body. The ratio of change in dimension of body to its original dimension is called strain. Change in dimension by original dimension. So we applied change in dimension by original dimension of the body, it's called strain. Okay, so we applied the external forces on that body, automatically the dimensions of the body is changed. So we can measure the strain. It is uh, change in dimensions by original dimension, it is called strain. The strain is a dimensionless quantity. Strain is a dimensionless quantity. That is strain. What are the terminologies related to strain? It is a longitudinal or linear strain, or compression strain, tension strain, and a shear strain, and a infinitesimal strain, finite strain. These are the different strains. Next one, homogeneous and inhomogeneous strains. These are the different terminologies are related to the strain. What is a longitudinal and a linear strain? So the strain that changes the length of a line without changing its direction. So the direction is not changed whenever we apply the different external forces on that object. The direction is not changed, only the applied forces are acting at only one direction. The direction of the forces is not changed in the longitudinal or linear strain. That can be either compressional or tensional. It is a tensional forces are occurred or compressional forces are occurred. The direction of the forces is not changed in the longitudinal or linear strain. Okay, you can see it is the object. This object, the forces applied in this direction also. This means tensile directions, tensile stresses. Okay, the forces acting on this direction, the direction of forces is not changed. That means we are acting tensile forces. It means the direction of forces is not changed. The direction of forces is not changed in this longitudinal or linear strain. You can observe this diagram and you can observe this second diagram. The direction of forces is changed. In this direction is compressive strain, compressive forces. The compressive forces and tensile forces are acts on this body. Both forces are act on this body, but it is not correct in this longitudinal or linear strain. This type of forces are not acting on this longitudinal or linear strain. Either apply either compressive forces are applied or tensional forces are occurred. Only one amount of forces are applied on this longitudinal or linear strains. Okay, next one, compression. Compression means tensional strain that shortens the object. Compressional strain, that means it is the object, the compressive forces are applied on this object. The direction of the forces is not changed. The direction of the forces is not changed. It is the mass of the body. Whenever we apply the compressive forces on this body, automatically it will change the dimension of that body. The area of the body is changed. What is told? The strain that shortens the object. So the body should be shortened. The body should be shortened whenever we apply the strain on that body. Okay, that is called compression. And next one, tension. Longitudinal strain that lengthens an object. Longitudinal strain, when we can take this object, the tensile forces are acting on this body. Tensile forces are acting in this body. So it is the mass. So the body dimension should be changed. The length of the object is increased. Okay, the length of the object is increased whenever we apply the forces on the body. Whenever we apply the tensile forces on that body, the length of the object should be changed. Okay, so that is the tensile forces are acts on that body. And next one, shear under infinitesimal stress and finite strain. These are also different terminologies related to this strain measurement. So these stresses, how should be calculated? What are the different types of instruments are used to calculate these stresses and strains? Okay, so these stresses and strains are calculated by using different types of instruments. We can calculate this amount of stresses and strains. Okay, so in that next class we will see about the measurements, different instruments of these stresses and strains. So thank you guys.